Hi all. Well, fun day yesterday on the dyno. Had a few minor setbacks, managed to cure most of them. Ended up with one that I couldn't cure straight away. There should be a 6-rib belt, and the eagle-eyed amongst you, 2 of the ribs are now missing, and the 3rd was on its way. So something came undone. We weren't overly sure at the time. But since we took the car apart, I've realised that this particular tensioner has kind of worn a bit of a groove in the back here. So I'm guessing the belt, if I can hold it up there, the belt was a little bit too close to that edge, and it was chewing it on a little bit, and it just started a sequence that basically just unthreaded it, and we could hear a kind of a funny tick, 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 as basically the shards of this were slowly destroying themselves, and this was kind of unwinding itself. So we did lose an accessory belt, but we'd had a good day up to that point, so we called it a day about 4 o'clock. And yeah, every little bit and pieces that we've done so far worked really well. Had no issues that we couldn't solve straight away. Some of them were just tuning issues. Sorted the tick over out now, so she'll tick over really nicely now. We burnt one spark plug wire. It was a little bit too close to one of the headers. It's a very awkward one that's on center 2, and it's really awkward not to sort of touch the header. Even with the shield on, it still took it out, so we popped out, got another spark plug wire, made a quick one up, so it's a bit long and out of the way, but at least it got us going. Realised we got the lambdas set on LSU 4.9s, and they're actually ADVs, so the lambda probe we had shoved up from the dyno itself was showing leaner than the actual lambdas on the car. So basically we've got the wrong settings for the ECU in that. Once we cleared that up, minor issue with the swirl pot running out of fuel. I hadn't triggered the second suction pump which goes from the tank into the swirl pot, and once the horsepower level started to creep up and up and up and up, we needed more fuel, so it looked like it ran out of fuel. The DTC on the ECU basically said that the fuel pressure differential, I think was the alarm, it basically said the fuel pressure was sort of slightly dropping, so the injector's duty cycle were basically having to compensate, so the injectors got to a 95% duty cycle on I think like about a 650 horse pull. So at that point then I ran to go get some fuel, and then on the way back sort of thought, did I set up the second fuel pump? Which I did, and then at some point it was annoying me and I turned it off in the PDM, sorry. Sort that out. Now we were good again. At that point then we started to open up the RPM on the dyno, or add 2 dyno pulls at the end. Fortunately I didn't get the one with the maximum horsepower, but you get the general idea. And the final pull, that's when unfortunately the belt failed, and because there's a reflective sticker on here, as you can see, and basically the dyno doesn't have an RPM signal, so we basically mag-based a sensor to the floor here, and that was looking up at that. Unfortunately then the belt, when it decided, it hit the sensor and moved the sensor out of the way, so we got the dyno graph up to 6,800 RPM, and it made 743 horse. Problem is we were making peak power close to 78, so it's a lot closer to 8, so we had another 1,000 RPM plus, and the dyno graph was so steadily going up that way and wasn't looking like it was any form of backing off. Previously, because the lambda was set up wrong, we were too rich and we were losing horsepower. You could see the graph starting to sort of plateau, and then as soon as it started to lean back out again and get close to the lambda we wanted, we were close, went up. So like we were aiming for just like lambda 0.8 or 0.78. We were closer to it. We found out we were lambda 0.72 on full pulls, which is a bit too rich, and actually was too rich, was killing the horsepower. So once we sorted all out the stupid shit, which, okay, fine, needed to be done, then basically we hit the 6,800 RPM, 743 horsepower, which projected we probably gained somewhere near another 50 horsepower on that. once it reached like 78. And yeah, hearing this baby sing was initially, I would say, I was as nervous as anything and was almost cringing, just, you know, just sort of waiting for the next bad news and, you know, saying hi to a conrod or something stupid, but it didn't happen. Everything was great, everything's sorted out. All pressure issues have gone now. I will change the open oil squirters that cool the piston even on tick over, which is kind of stupid. I'll put the LS9 K-Tech versions in there so that basically the under piston squirters won't operate until it's 40 psi, which will probably give you another 5 psi on tick over. But as soon as we gained RPM, every 1,000 RPM we were gaining 10 psi oil pressure easy on top of the tick over one. So like 4,500, 5,000 RPM, we're already like 70 plus and hitting the release spring. So all pressure issues gone, all cooling issues gone, intercooler IA temps, air inlet temps were good. We just did have a small fan on the side of the car here, pointed towards the Hayabusa radiator I've used as a charge cooler, water radiator. So they were good, and yeah, we were making good power. The funny thing, or the quick appraisal of the car, the exhaust system made by Chris McKay at Obtaining Welding was so good at flowing. We were expecting, you know, a boost pressure ratio, exhaust manifold pressure to boost pressure, you know, 1-to-1 seems to be quite standard. It's really bad design, then you get more pressure and exhaust back pressure. We had a lot less, so we had a really good pressure ratio. So the upside of that is the 7.5 psi springs in the 60mm wastegates actually made a pretty consistent 10 psi as soon as we started building boost. So that's what's pushed us basically very close to, if we've had the dyno trace wheel next time, 800 wheel horsepower. So whatever drivetrain losses you want to throw at that, say we got 10% drivetrain loss, we're 880 crank horsepower. So the funny thing was, he actually had a dyno trace from a Hellcat that he'd done a year or so ago. So he overlaid the two traces, and the Hellcat sort of peaked off at sort of 6 grand and stayed there. We just carried on all the way to 68 and we're heading up, and we were still 140 wheel horse over a Dodge Hellcat. So sorry, Dodge owners. I'm probably 700 kilos lighter and 200 horsepower more on the wheels, so you don't have much of a chance. But there you go. You know, as LS guys love to wind up the guys with the Hemis. So yeah, a couple of minor things to sort out. Already added a spacer to that idler, so we should basically now be able to have a belt that won't destroy itself. But we've done quite a lot of pulls during that day. It was getting pretty warm. We had to let the engine cool down a couple of times because it was reaching like 104, 105. So basically just let it sit on tick over. With all the fans on, then it would cool down to 95, then we'd hit the next dyno pull. Obviously the car's standing still on the dyno. Doesn't matter how much fans you put, you're never really going to replicate the air pressure through the radiator at speed. So yeah, super happy. We've done most of the VE tuning now, so we've got to do some throttle mass tuning, but that can be done mainly all up to very low boost. Then you basically revert back to speed density after that anyway. So all the cruise stuff, all the sort of legal, should we say, road tuning can be done just while we're driving. So it's ready now to do its test. We had an issue with like the tick over not wanting to recover quickly. It would come down past the tick over and then stall. We have found that issue as well. There was a setting in the PID system that basically wasn't set right. Once we did a bit of research for it, and I realized, oh, right, okay, wrong setting. As soon as we engaged that, we got the tick over within like 5 minutes of playing around. Matt got it pretty good. So yeah, the car's ready for its next stage of stuff. So a little bit of spark plug wiring. Maybe during the winter we'll pull the headers off, and then we'll basically maybe insulate the primaries for about 6 inches just to make the spark plug wires last a bit longer. But yeah, no significant issues now that we couldn't either solve on the day or basically solve with with a new belt and a 3mm aluminum spacer. I can get on and get the car finished and ready for its test. So yeah, we've had the car appraised as well, which is really, really nice. So the appraiser has appraised the car at, yeah, so let's just say not that far away from $300,000. So we showed them all the receipts, showed them all the bits and pieces, and basically a sale value would have to be close to 300K, which, you know, the performance figures, we can show anybody that if for whatever reason might be interested in buying it, but this is not my intention to sell it straight away, but you know, cash talks, and everything's for sale in the end. Well, apart from the last Golf, of course. No, I can't sell that. So yeah, so I'll add a couple of dyno pull videos here. Unfortunately, our videographer was going to come today for a dyno session, but the belt unfortunately sort of screwed up of us dynoing it today, which is a shame because he's got a lot better camera than my iPhone. But we can do that stuff at a later date. So here we go. I'll add the 2 dyno videos now. Enjoy. So yeah, see you all soon.